happy Friday. It's the weekend and I am ready to do some stamping. I have not stamped all week. I have been just busy doing other things and I really need to take some time to create today. And yesterday I actually started reorganizing my craft space, and I came across some bits and pieces that I have left over from other projects. So that is what I'm going to be playing with today. I'm going to keep the camera rolling. I have some fun ideas in my head on how I want to use some leftover paper towel that has ink on it. And I do remember in a video not too long ago saying don't throw away these inky paper towels because you can use them. So I'm going to play with that today, along with maybe some gilded leafing, especially while it's still available from Stampin' Up, and maybe some texture paste as well. Either way, this is just going to be a fun play day for me, so I hope you enjoy today's video and get some fun ideas that you can incorporate with your stamping using your supplies and enjoy some creative time as well. So let's start stamping. Here is the paper towel that I have left over. Now, this was 2-ply. I have already used the other half of this on another project, which I can't find, so I can't show it to you today. But this was the second layer. So when you have your paper towels, once they're all inky like that, you just tear them apart, right? And I mean, look at the colors. Like, you would have thought that was a grand mess, but it's absolutely beautiful in my opinion. So I want to get this onto some paper. I'm going to bring in some of my adhesive sheets. I have also done this where I have just put glue on my white cardstock and then put on my paper towel, but today we are using the adhesive sheets. So I am going to just, actually, I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to start in the corner. And I'm going to trim off this bit because I can still use that for something as well, for mixed media. I'm going to definitely save that. And as you can see, I've got another one on the go. So I'll just keep using this until it's full of ink, and then I'll have another beautiful fun piece like this to use. So I'm going to trim this down because I want to try using this 2 different ways. I am so in love with these colors. I'm going to trim this down at 5 1/4. And I'm going to work with the whole piece. And then I have this whole piece as well that I can trim up a little bit. Just makes it a little bit more manageable when they're a little bit smaller. And I am actually going to go ahead and put this on some white cardstock. I'm not worried about the wrinkles because that to me just gives it more texture. I'm going to trim that up. For this one, I think what I'm going to do is run it through an embossing folder. So I have the new Zinck embossing folder. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this through. And you know I'm winging this as we go along, right guys? You know that. Because that's just what I do. I think I'm going to ink this with Early Espresso Brown. And I'm going to ink the, let's see, I'm going to do bumps on, I'm going to ink the raised image of this embossing folder. My goodness, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to run that through my handy dandy machine. This is a 3D embossing folder, so I'm just putting the gray mat on top. Oh my word. Look at that, my friends. And it's got all the beautiful texture from that paper towel. I almost don't want to do too much more to this because it's so pretty. So I'm actually going to set this aside and think about what, if anything else, I'm going to do to this. So I'm going to come back to that. So I'm going to take my painted textures embossing folder this time, and I'm just going to put it right on this end here, because then I can use this portion for something else. So I'm going to run that through next. I'm going to have to trim that to make sure it fits in my machine. I know you can't see it, but I do have some raised, like you can see it on this side, right? So there are some raised portions on there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my brown again. I'm going to very lightly go on top, very lightly, because I don't want to lose all the color underneath. See how that's picking it up? Like I am barely kissing this. Next, I'm bringing in this mask from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to add a little bit of Versamark, and I'm going to use some heat and stick powder and my gold leafing. You can use embossing powders, but I'm going to use that gold leafing because you do get a different look. I'm using a sponge dauber. Let me get into the camera so you can see what I'm doing, because I don't want to cover this whole piece. I just want a little bit here and there. Now I have not done this before. I don't know how this is going to work. I'm assuming some of that gold leafing might stick to the paper towel where I don't want it to. It might not, but you don't know till you try. So we're having fun and we're going to see what happens. I think that's good. So I'm going to bring in my heat and stick powder. I've got my gold leafing on standby. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Okay, let's heat it up and get some gold leafing on there. Really hard to see where this is. I can feel some over here. So you can see some of that pattern coming through with that gold leafing. I think I've brushed off too much powder, so I'm going to do that again. Just to add a little bit more. That gilded leafing is sticking inside the paper towel, but you can still see where I'm getting some of that masking pattern. Time for some more experimenting. I am bringing in the exposed brick embossing folder, and I'm going to ink it with my white craft ink, and I am going to ink it on the let's see, what side do I want to do? Ink it on the raised side. I think this is going to look really cool. I love playing like this. All right. Let's see. Do you want to go that way or that way? We're going to go this way. Run that through. Sprinkle on some white powder. I think that looks so cool. You got all the colors. You've got the pattern from the gold leafing. You've got the pattern from that first embossing powder with the early espresso, and then the pattern with the white embossing powder. So that is a really cool background, especially if you're into mixed media. So now I'm going to trim this up and finish this up. I'm going to go around the edges with my early espresso. I am now just going to take my fingernail and just rough up the edges, which I used to do all the time when I started stamping. This was all the rage, and I think sometimes we forget about these simple little techniques that make a difference on our cards. I'm going to take some tear and tape, put some strips on the back. I'm going to use a basic white card base for this. I'm going to make this card landscape. In a butterfly. I think a butterfly would look good on this. Getting low on them. I meant to put linen thread on this, and I went ahead and glued to my card base. I forgot. So I'm going to improvise. And I'm gonna grab a glue dot. I'll put a glue dot right there. Wrap this around, so it's going to go on the inside flap as well. That's fine. I think I want this butterfly on instead of the other one. I'm going to use this as a stencil because I want a solid butterfly behind this cutout. So I am just going to trace this out with my pencil. I'm not going to worry about the antennas. It's perfectly. So I have an idea. I'm going to pull in my silicone craft mat and my glue. Take some of the scrap paper and just make sure that whole piece is covered. Then that little bit of paper towel that I had left over, I'm going to put this right on top of that butterfly. Bunch of color in there. Go this way. A nail file going around the edge just to get rid of that excess. There's the body of my butterfly. And I'm just trying to decide if I want to put some gold on this guy. I think I want some gold on this butterfly itself. I'm just going to put this mask right on top. I'm really tapping off the excess powder because I don't want this to lose, I don't want to lose all the colors in that paper towel. Of crumbling it on top because, like I said, I don't want to cover this completely. got a big piece on there. See what I mean? Just want a little bit. My early espresso again, just to go around the edges. Taking my early espresso marker, and I'm just doing the body of the butterfly. Decided I want some texture, some more texture on the wings of this butterfly. So I'm actually going to take my Versamark, cover the whole thing with that, and then emboss it with my clear powder. Bend my butterfly over my take your pick tool to give it some dimension. Do the same thing with this piece. Onto my card. Hard to believe that's paper towel. And in real life, like, you can really see the texture of that paper towel. So that's really fun to have something different like that. And it's just paper towel that would have gone in the garbage, and you've got all that beautiful color. I think that's the coolest. So all I need to finish this card, I believe, is a sentiment. This is a stamp set that I recently purchased. It's part of our online exclusives, and I'm going to use this for a very dear friend who is going through cancer for the 5th time. I'm going to stamp healing, peace, and rest on the front, and then I'm going to stamp thinking of you, praying for you, and hoping with you on the inside. I'm going to stamp and emboss the sentiment with white. I'm loving this Happy Little Things label set. There's just the 2 label dies in here, but holy moly, am I ever using this a lot. So that one's gonna fit better. I think my friend needs a little bit of sparkle and shimmer in her life, so I am adding a few extra bits of bling to her card. Piece of basic white cardstock. I've cut it down to measure 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have this little strip from when I trimmed up the previous piece, the front layer, and I'm going to put this on the inside like so. Bringing in my butterfly, and I'm going to use it as a mask. Of course, I don't remember all the colors that I used on that paper towel, so I'm just going to wing it and use some of the colors that I think are on there. I'm going to start with some fresh Frieza. Just going to do really, really lightly. And some boho blue. In, and I'm gonna sponge on some soft sea foam. Not doing the whole butterfly, just a little bit here and there. And my early espresso. And I want to add a little bit of gold on here, so I'm going to bring in my sponge dauber again and just add a little bit of gold leafing. Put some more heat and stick powder on there. I didn't get enough on with the dauber, that's what's going on. But I'm happy with that because it's just enough to add a little bit of Shazam on the inside of this card. Guessed that this card was made with paper towel that was destined for the bin. Probably not. So I hope that gives you some inspiration for your paper towels when they get inky. Save them because you can just do so much. I have only scratched the surface today of the different ways that I have used my paper towels, and in fact when I was looking for the scrap paper for my sentiment, I came across this in my scrap basket. So this was the first layer of this paper towel, and I had used it for some dragonflies, clearly. And then I will come back to this one on my next video. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this yet, if I want to turn this into a card, or if I want to turn it into something that I can use for a journal or one of my scrapbooks. And I am going to come back to that real soon, so there'll be a video for that soon. And in the meantime, save your paper towels, watercolor, paint, have fun so that you can get those inky paper towels that you can play with, and set them aside. And you can do this, of course, with paper too. Of course, you can just do the smushing ink technique. There's a lot of different ways that you can create a background. This is just a fun way to upcycle something that you would probably throw away. Maybe not everybody, but not everybody would think of saving it for a card. So there you go, my friends. And in the meantime, I would appreciate all your prayers for my sweet friend who's going through this cancer for the 5th time. And to all of you who are part of my YouTube family and my stamping world, I love you all. I wish you all the best. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Take care, my friends, and happy stamping.